All About Love, New Visions, by Bell Hooks. Introduction. When I was a child, I wish I could tell you that I learned what love was because I was surrounded by it. But the truth is, it was the absence of love that taught me just how much it mattered. The author of the book we're exploring today, the brilliant Bell Hooks, felt this same thing. She remembered a moment in her girlhood when she was precious, cherished, and loved. And then, one day, she just wasn't. That feeling of being abandoned, of being banished from love's paradise, as she calls it, left a wound so profound it haunted her. And as she grew up and looked at the world around her, she realized she wasn't alone. We are all haunted by this feeling. We live in a world that is starving for love, yet we are surrounded by lovelessness. We talk about love all the time. We sing about it, we write movies about it, but in our daily lives, many of us are deeply cynical that we'll ever find it. We hear songs like "What's Love Got to Do with It?" and we nod along, because it feels true. We're afraid to really give ourselves to another person, because we've seen how much it can hurt. And so, we live our lives in a kind of quiet despair, clinging to the hope of love but secretly believing it's a fantasy. The book All About Love isn't just another book. It's a brave and honest map. It's a guide written by someone who looked that deep, broken-hearted feeling right in the eye and refused to accept it. Bell Hooks spent her life searching for a new way, a new vision. And what she found is one of the most powerful truths I've ever encountered. She found that our entire problem with love comes from one single mistake. We think love is a feeling. We think it's something that just happens to us, a magical force we have no control over. But, she tells us, that's not what love is at all. Love, she says, is not a noun. It's a verb. It's not a feeling. It's an action. It is a choice. And by the time we're done today, I promise you will have a definition of love so clear, so powerful, it will act like a compass. It will change the way you see yourself, your family, your friendships, and your future. This is a conversation about healing. It's about finding our way back to the one thing that truly matters. This is All About Love. Book summary. So, where do we even begin? If you're going to learn how to practice love, you first have to be able to define it. You have to be able to give love words. Think about it. We are so confused about this word. We use it for everything. I love this song. I love this food. And I love you are all said with the same word, but they mean entirely different things. We're sloppy with it. And because we're sloppy, we end up confused. And that confusion is the source of all our difficulty. Most of us think love is about deep affection. Or we think it's about cathexis. That's a psychological term for investing our feelings in another person, that in love rush we get. But that's not love. That's just one small ingredient. Bell Hooks searched for years for a better definition. And the one she found, the one that forms the foundation of this entire book, comes from the psychiatrist M. Scott Peck. And I want you to really hear this. This is the compass. Love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Let's break that down, because every word matters. The will. This means it's an act of will. It's a choice. It's not a feeling that washes over you. It's a decision you make, an intention you set. You don't fall in love, you choose to love. To extend oneself, this means it requires effort. It's an action. It requires you to move beyond your own comfort zone, to stretch yourself for the sake of another person, or for yourself. Nurturing spiritual growth. This is the purpose of love. What is spiritual growth? It's helping yourself, and the person you love, become your best, most whole, most authentic selves. Love is as love does. If an action doesn't nurture your growth or another's growth, it is not love. This definition is a bright, shining light, and the first thing it illuminates is the most dangerous lie we are ever taught. The lie that love and abuse can coexist. Think about your childhood. That's our first school of love. And for so many of us, that school is dysfunctional. How many of us, as children, were punished, maybe hit, or shamed, or humiliated, and then told, "I'm doing this because I love you"? In our hearts, we knew it was a lie. An action that shames, humiliates, or hurts you cannot be loving, because it is the opposite of nurturing your spiritual growth. It's an act of domination, of power, of control. Abuse and neglect are, by definition, the opposites of nurturance and care. This is the first, most powerful lesson of the book. You cannot claim to love someone if you are hurting or abusing them. They cannot coexist. And this leads us to the second great principle. There can be no love without justice. Justice is about upholding the rights of others. In a family, this means parents must see their children not as property to be controlled, but as beings with rights to be respected. When we parent with loving discipline, which means teaching boundaries and responsibility without using coercion, shaming, or violence, we are teaching children the true meaning of love. But if our first school of love is broken, how do we build a new one? We start with the ingredients. Love, Bell Hooks tells us, is a mix of several ingredients. It's not just affection. It's a combination of care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. You can have affection without love. You can have care without love, but you cannot have true love if any of these ingredients are missing. And the ingredient that holds them all together, the one our culture struggles with the most, is honesty. You cannot have love without honesty. The heart of justice is truth-telling. We live in a culture that has become comfortable with lying. We tell white lies to spare someone's feelings or, more often, to avoid conflict for ourselves. But every time we lie, we erode the foundation of trust. And without trust, there is no intimacy. This is where we have to talk about power. In our culture, she explains, men are often socialized to lie as a way of gaining and maintaining power and control. They learn to conceal their true feelings, to put on a mask of being tough and in control. Women, on the other hand, are often socialized to lie in a different way, to pretend, to act as though we are weak, or dumb, or agreeable, to wear a false self to please others and manipulate situations. Both of these are forms of dishonesty. Both of them make love impossible. This brings us to a critical distinction: the difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is healthy. We all need a space to be alone with our thoughts and feelings. Privacy strengthens bonds because it means we trust the other person. Secrecy, however, is about hiding and concealing information. It's about power. Secrets are toxic. They are a form of lying, and they are the setting for betrayal. To be loving, we must be courageous enough to tell the truth, to ourselves and to others. We must be willing to reveal our true selves, our raw edges, as one writer puts it. And when we are honest, we can finally confront the biggest obstacle to love in our world: the will to dominate. This is one of the most profound ideas in the book. Bell Hooks quotes the psychoanalyst Carl Jung, who said, "Where the will to power is paramount, love will be lacking." You cannot have both. You must choose. A patriarchal culture, one that is built on the idea that one group men should dominate another women, is, by its very nature, a culture that is afraid of love. It teaches men that their value comes from being in control, from being on top, from not feeling or expressing emotion. This estranges them from their own hearts, and from their capacity to love. It teaches women to accept this domination in exchange for love, which is really just a form of care or provision. But this is not love. It is a power struggle, and it cannot lead to the mutual spiritual growth that love is. This drive for power isn't just in our relationships, it's in our economy. This brings us to the next great blockage: greed. We live, she says, in a culture of pathological narcissism. We are taught from birth that things matter more than people. We are spiritually empty, aching for connection, aching for love, and we try to fill that emptiness with consumption. We think, I may not have love, but I can always shop. This greed makes us treat people like objects. We start to see relationships as transactions. We think, what am I getting out of this? We treat partners like they are disposable. If someone isn't meeting our needs right now, we throw them away and get another. This is the tyranny of marketplace values. It's the opposite of love. which requires commitment and generosity. And this is what leads to so much addiction in our world. Addiction, whether it's to substances, or shopping, or even sex, is a desperate search for pleasure and relief from the pain of our spiritual lack. Addiction makes love impossible, because the addict's primary relationship is with their drug of choice, not with a person. So, the world we live in is confusing. It teaches us lies in childhood, it encourages dishonesty, it's obsessed with power and greed. It's a wilderness. How do we find our way home? The path begins with the most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. The foundation of all loving practice is self-love. You've heard the saying, if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. It sounds nice, but what does it mean? Just like love for others, self-love is not a feeling. It's an action. It is the will to extend oneself to nurture one's own spiritual growth. It means taking responsibility for your own life. It means living consciously, thinking critically about your life and the world. It means self-acceptance, learning to stop listening to that negative voice inside that is constantly judging you. It means self-assertiveness, the willingness to stand up for yourself and be who you are, openly. And it means living purposefully, choosing work and a way of life that aligns with your values and enhances your well-being. One of the most practical ways to be self-loving? Give yourself the love you are dreaming of receiving from someone else. If you're waiting for a partner to come along and affirm your worth, to accept you just as you are, you must first give that acceptance and affirmation to yourself. When you are filled up with your own love, you can finally reach out to others from a place of fullness, not from a place of lack and need. And when you do, you'll discover the next step on the path: community. Love cannot flourish in isolation. We learn to love by being in loving communion with others. And what is the best school for learning this? Friendship. Think about it. In our friendships, we choose to practice all the ingredients of love. We practice care, respect, trust, and honesty. We learn to navigate conflict and differences while staying connected. Friendship is the place where many of us get our first glimpse of real, redemptive love. The skills we learn in loving friendships are the exact skills we need for loving romantic bonds. But to be a good friend, and a good member of a community, you must first know how to be alone. This is the vital difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the joy and peace of being alone. When we are afraid of being alone, we use other people as a means of escape. But when we learn to embrace solitude, we can be with others without clinging to them. We can respect their uniqueness. This is how we build healthy community. And in that community, we practice mutuality. This, she says, is the heart of love. Mutuality is the antidote to the power struggles of patriarchy. It's the recognition that in a loving relationship, each person's growth matters equally. It's a practice of mutual generosity, a constant, joyous flow of giving and receiving. It's a practice of forgiveness. Forgiveness is an act of generosity. It's how we release anger and blame, and it opens us up to receive love again. Now, what about romance? Our culture is obsessed with the fantasy of romantic love. We're taught to wait for the one, for that perfect passion. We believe we will fall in love. This idea is one of the most destructive ideas in our history. Why? Because it removes choice. If we just fall, we're not responsible. It's magic. It's fate. And if it's a feeling can come, and a feeling can go. This is why we fail at romantic love. We haven't learned the art of loving. We mistake that initial click, that powerful erotic attraction, for love itself. But erotic attraction is not love. You can have incredible, passionate sex with someone you don't love. And you can have a deep, lifelong love with someone where the sexual passion has faded. Sexual pleasure enhances love, but it is not the proving ground for it. The real romance isn't in the falling. The real romance is in the work. It's the work of two people seeing each other as they really are, without masks. It's the work of communicating, of being honest, of nurturing each other's growth. Bell Hooks asks us to change our language. Instead of saying, I'm in love. What if we said, I am loving or I will love? This small shift changes everything. It moves us from being passive victims of a feeling to being active, courageous participants in an action. This is the only path to what she calls true love. True love is not a fairy tale. It's not an escape from difficulties. True love thrives on difficulties, because it's a commitment to grow through them. This path is not easy. It means facing our old wounds. And this is the final, beautiful promise of the book. Love heals. We are all wounded. Many of us carry wounds from childhood, places where we were shamed, where we were taught we were unworthy of love. Shame breaks our hearts and keeps us from healing. We're afraid to even speak our pain. But love gives us the courage to face that pain. There is a powerful story from the Bible that Bell Hooks loves, the story of Jacob wrestling with an angel. All night they struggle, and just before dawn, the angel wounds Jacob in his hip, but also gives him a blessing. The lesson is this: the wound is the blessing. Embracing our wound is the only way to heal. When we can finally look at our own suffering, our own brokenness, with compassion, that is the moment healing begins. That is the moment we can forgive ourselves and others. That is the moment we can be born again. We are not meant to be alone in this. All around us, she says, there are angels, guardian spirits who guide us. Sometimes they are unseen, but often, they are human. They are the enlightened witnesses who showed us kindness as a child. They are the friends who listen. They are the authors, like Bell Hooks herself, who write books that feel like a raft, saving us when we are drowning. These angels are all around us, speaking to our hearts in a secret language, whispering the same message. Love is our true destiny. We do not find the meaning of life by ourselves alone. We find it with another. In a world full of fear, cynicism, and lovelessness, we must be courageous. We must choose love. It is the only way to enter paradise. And paradise, she tells us, is our home. Commentary. Phew, is a journey. When you really sit with the ideas in All About Love, you realize just how radical this book is. It's not a gentle, feel-good pat on the head. It's a challenge. It's a manifesto. It asks us to stop lying to ourselves. The most powerful lesson for me, the one that truly changes everything, is that simple, profound definition. Love is an action dedicated to growth. Once you have that compass, you can't unsee it. You start to look at your own life, your own relationships, and you have a new filter. You can finally ask the real questions. Is this action I'm about to take loving? Is it nurturing my own growth? Is it nurturing theirs? Is this relationship I'm in loving? Or is it a power struggle? Is it built on honesty or on secrets and pretense? Is the way I talk to myself loving? Or is it a voice of shame, the one I learned as a child? This book matters so much right now because we live in a world that is obsessed with me and terrified of we. We are more connected by technology and more isolated in our hearts than ever before. Bell Hooks gave us a way back. She reminded us that love isn't a prize to be won. It's a home to be built. It's the daily, courageous, and sometimes difficult practice of care, respect, trust, and honesty. So, how can you start building that home today? Here are 3 simple ways to start practicing. First, learn the definition. I'm serious. Write it down. The will to extend one's self for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Put it somewhere you can see it. For the next week, run your choices through that filter. It will change how you see your day. Second, practice love in your friendships. We often put all our love energy into finding a romantic partner. Forget that for now. Pick one friendship. This week, practice active love. Listen to them with your full attention, without planning what you're going to say next. Be courageously honest and respectful. Offer your care, not just your words, but your time and your help. Friendship is our best training ground. Third, become an enlightened witness for yourself. Think back to your first school of love. What was one lesson you learned about love that might be wrong? Maybe you learned that love was conditional, that you had to earn it. Maybe you learned that love was loud and full of conflict. Just See it. Acknowledge it. You don't have to be defined by it. The simple act of seeing it is the beginning of healing. You can choose to unlearn it and learn this new way. This path isn't a quick fix. It's the work of a lifetime. But it is the only work that matters. It's the work of healing our hearts, our communities, and our world. It is the work of returning to love. That was our journey through All About Love by Bell Hooks. We've touched on the great, foundational ideas today, but I'll be honest with you. A summary can only ever be a map. The real magic happens when you walk the territory yourself. It's in the quiet moments, when a particular story or a simple phrase hits you in a way you just didn't expect. This conversation is designed to help you decide if this book is worth your precious time. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a light in you, if it felt true in your bones, then please, grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning, it's an experience. It can genuinely change the way you see yourself, and every single person in your life. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable, and you want to keep exploring the most powerful ideas from the world's greatest thinkers, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It lets me know that this work matters, and it ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book. Thank you for your time. Let's keep growing together.